All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first session of the AI Summit. I'm Manoj Ramnani, founder and CEO at SalesIntel, and I'm thrilled to be moderating today's conversation on a topic that is not only near and dear to our heart, but it's couldn't be more relevant or more urgent for all the go-to-market community. And the topic is the hybrid future of pipeline generation. How do we bring the AI and the human together to get the most optimal outcome and generate the pipeline? Now, if you're in the sales or marketing or revenue operations or any go-to-market function, your inboxes are inundated with all the promises of AI, how AI can solve the problem. But we all realize the winners of this are not going to be the companies that adopt AI tools or the softwares the fastest, right? The winners are, we believe, are going to be the companies that bring the right combination of AI and human element together. So let the AI do all the automation, but keep the humans for what they do the best, which is build relationship and drive trust. We have brought together an amazing panels here, right, with the experts and the trailblazers in AI who have not only taken that first leap of faith and say, we are going to innovate and we are going to adopt an AI, but they have put together a very practical and scalable approach to adopting AI by keeping human in the loop, right? And for audience, please don't forget, we'll have a few minutes at the end where we will take the questions. And before we dive deeper, I would request our panelists to do a quick intro, tell us about your name, your business, your role within the business, and what excites you about AI in go-to-market. So on my screen, I have Christina first.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Brady. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Luster. We're a native AI company. And I think that what amazes me and what excites me about AI is the ability for it to unlock human potential in a way that we've never before seen. And so I think we're going to see a lot of highly, highly talented individuals that previously may not have been able to succeed or may not have succeeded in roles that are able to, with the help and leverage of using something like AI the right way. And so seeing people be the best versions of themselves is kind of what I am all about. So that excites me.
Good. Awesome. Welcome, Christina. Cindy?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Zoe. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of KnowBe4, and we are a human risk management cybersecurity platform company. Really excited to be here, and we are diving all in on AI at KnowBe4. We have an agentic AI product already, and I'll say what excites me is the opportunity to really align all these go-to-market functions on a common goal and really be able to do it faster.
Awesome. Thanks, Cindy. Dan?
Hey, first of all, thanks, Manoj, for having me, and to Johan, your CMO, obviously, for inviting me to do this. So Dan Darcy, Chief Customer Officer at Qualified. We're a agentic marketing platform, mostly responsible for Piper, our AI SDR, which you'll see a lot of that in the market. And what I'm excited about in the world of AI is just really how it's fundamentally rewriting the rules of growth. Obviously, you see the rise of the AI SDR. It's supercharging humans as well, helping with predictive intelligence, hyper-personalization, and so on. So just excited to talk about AI and go-to-market today.
Awesome. Welcome, Dan. Cliff?
Hey, Manoj, thanks for having us. Hi, everyone. Cliff Simon. I'm the CRO of Carabina Group. We help companies with RevOps, and we get to see how all of these things actually play out in a practical sense for the customers that we serve.
Awesome. Awesome. So you get to use you get to see and witness all the customers using different type of AI functions. Welcome, Cliff, and Nitya.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nita Lakshanan. I head product for Outreach. Outreach is a complete end-to-end revenue workflow platform for your sales organizations, and we also go beyond sales to your entire go-to-market organization. Our core workflows span everything from pipeline generation to managing deals to post-sales. And for leaders, it's about coaching and forecasting. So we have a complete platform for that. And I have to say, as a product person, it's an exciting time to be in this space because of what is possible with tech. AI used to be kind of this, mysterious thing that only a few people could do in the past. With what AI has become is way more accessible for us to really think beyond what we could have possibly imagined. And for our users on the platform, I think about it as giving them scale and giving them precision, right? I mean, it's a lot for humans to absorb all the information and take the right actions at the right time. And that's the heavy lifting that AI gets to do on the human's behalf. And the human still has to be in the mix. It's about relationships at the end of the day, how you build relationships with your customers. And that's what gets you to closing, understanding all of that. And that's where reps absolutely need to be in the mix, but there's a lot that AI can take off their plate. So I'm very gung-ho about where the market is.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Nitya. So as we unpack all things AI, pipeline generation, human in the loop, AI automations, the way we'll run the panel is each of our panelists will take the lead on a core topic, and then the rest of us will chime in and add to it. Or if we don't agree, we'll voice our disagreement there, right? Sounds like a plan. So to kick things off, Cindy, let's start with you. A lot of teams are eager to jump onto the AI bandwagon, right? But not everybody's ready, right? Not everybody's ready. Not everybody is primed to get the most out of AI. From your experience, what signs or signals show that an organization is ready to take that leap of faith, take that AI initiative on?
Yeah, absolutely, Manoj and everyone. I really see it as it has to start at the top. You have to have that organizational culture of willingness to experiment, willingness to think about, how can we as leaders, as a part of the C-suite, be able to drive that organizational change throughout. So I'll give everyone an example. Our founder and now executive chairman, Stu Showerman, he leaned in on AI early on. And we built our own AI portal that has everything from Claude to ChatGPT, DALL-E, right? We've got every model available to all of our Nosters, 2,000 plus around the world. And basically, he started encouraging everyone to use it by gamifying it and having contests around, by department, right? Like, how are we using AI? So that really is one thing that's really important, is to kind of start and lead by example. The second thing I would say is find the use cases that cross multiple departments. GTM is so great. We all work so closely together, sales, marketing, customer success. What is a problem that maybe came out of the boardroom, right? Out of the board meeting, a problem that you want to tackle, and just do it as an experiment. Get together with your chief customer officer, CMO, and chief revenue officer and say, hey, that's the problem that came out of the board meeting. Why don't we try to find a use case in AI to try to help us answer the question and experiment on it? So I would say definitely organizational culture. And then two, just go out there and try it. Doesn't matter if you fail, at least you try it.
So that makes sense. Christina, Cliff, anyone wants to add to that?
What I will say too is I love everything that Cindy said. A big part of it too is don't get overwhelmed. You can try one thing a day or one thing a week. You do not have to go ham and hog wild and try every single new AI tool. Think of the biggest problem that you want to solve right now and just pick one and try it out and see how it feels. It's digestible.
Yeah, that's good. To just double click on that, let's say you pick a topic or pick a problem that you want to solve. Is there some readiness checklist that you have to say, you know what, in order for me to go give my teams a green signal to adopt AI, I should have my data in order. I should have some governance in order. I should have some guidelines in order.
Yeah, Manoj, I'll just add on to that. You're spot on. The data maturity is so important. We've all heard that term, right? Junk in, junk out. And it's the same thing. So if you want your AI model to be well trained, and again, everyone, I think we all live this. No one's data is perfect, right? We all know that. And it's not about perfection, it's about good enough. But you do have to have that kind of initial assessment. Is your data, in at least a decent shape, right? For you to be able to generate the insights that you're looking for. The other part is, I think, process documentation. It's sort of like, well, who's going to lead the initiative? And it's okay to be out there and raise your hand and say, you know what, for this particular use case, I'm just going to take the lead and volunteer to lead it. But somebody has to own it, own the how, right? How do you make it all happen?
That leads to my second, thanks, Cindy. That leads to my second topic here. Once the organization has made a decision that, yep, we are going to be an AI first, or we are going to just experiment with AI on that spectrum of being the AI first company to we're gonna, dip our toe in the water. Who owns it, and what kind of governance do we put together? Then I know your team adopted AI very, very early, right? You were one of the pioneers. So help us, like, how did you go about assigning the ownership and the governance around AI?
Yeah, so just piling on to what Cindy said, I mean, it really does have to be tops down. And really, I think you need someone at the company that may not be like AI trained, but is like really helping corral and being that head of AI that's well versed in the trends, what's new, and just really trying to get ahead of that. And for us, it's our head of revenue operations is really that person. But what we've also done is we've assigned dedicated AI champions per department to become that subject matter expert and to drive that accountability. So we have roles on our teams that are fully dedicated to keeping our AI tech stack all marching in the same direction and becoming those knowledge sources for all of our disparate AI tools. And what's really interesting too is, obviously we're in the AI SDR space. So we welcome them as part of the team. So they're also on the leaderboard. They're helping augment, our folks on the team of how we tackle the different basically tasks. But then we also have folks that are really responsible for what AI is really going to help supercharge our employees and drive more productivity. And so that has been a huge game changer for us. And I think one of the other things I'll also mention was obviously it was a huge reckoning for us when we saw, the CEO of Intercom who put that post out that talked about, no more hiring until we could see if AI could do that. Now, of course, we're not as dramatic as that, but what the challenge that we took from that was what can AI kind of help solve for us instead of trying to hire for a new headcount, just to see if we can challenge ourselves, going back to Cindy's point around experimenting and challenging. So that's kind of a lot of the governance that we put in place. It's all funneled into, an AI kind of leader here at the company that we've deemed, and that's our RevOps person.
This is great. This is great. I love the AI champion within each team. So your BDR team has an AI champion. Your AE, I'm assuming, a CS team has an AI champion.
It's overwhelming, right? I mean, I would say everything, the pace of innovation is happening so fast that it is overwhelming. And so we have to just continue to be like, okay, what are the use cases that are ripe for of really having AI handle a lot of those tasks at scale? And so and to help our team kind of be more productive. But it's a lot, because even as I get into it too, and I'm always thinking about it, I'm like, holy smokes, there is so much to learn in this space.
I think things are moving so fast. So in Cindy's organization, the CEO and the chairman, they took the lead. In your organization, then it was head of revenue operations. And how about Christina, your organization, Nitya, who took the lead? I'll tell you about us. Like I started, I have a tech background, so I started as okay, we need to be AI first company. We are using AI to make all of us efficient, but externally for our clients, right? Because we provide a pipeline generation platform, and we want to make sure that we enable our platform for all our customers to leverage AI, right? And we have an amazing team across the board that has now taken on the initiatives in different aspects of our business. So Christina, who owns AI initiative at your team, at your company?
I mean, it's interesting because as a native AI company, we have kind of an AI first policy when it comes to everything, actually, except for like employees. Like I'm very big on hiring humans and equipping them with AI. But I would say our VP of Ops is in charge of all tooling, including AI tooling, and his main job is to look at anything that we want to onboard, whether it's AI or not, and align that to a business initiative or problem to be solved. And so we are not allowed to onboard any new tool, AI or not, even the free version, unless we can tie that to a core business initiative or solving a large problem that is slowing us down.
It's good, but it's VP of operations in your company. It's great. Nitya, your platform is AI, so you are the lead there.
So of course, I mean, we are bringing AI to the go-to-market team, so we have to be the trailblazer internally as well. So the first AI capabilities and the AI agents we built, we have used them at Outreach for our own go-to-market team. So our revenue operations teams, our enablement teams, they're the ones who kind of leading, identifying the use cases for us. It's been tremendous, like the learnings that we are getting from our own implementation is what now we're bringing to our customers on where and how to apply AI effectively, where do you need human in the loop versus where can you let kind of AI take the reins. And it's of course in product, I will say across the board in Outreach, just like every other company, we're looking at the potential of AI in every function, product development, product engineering. That's a ripe use case. That's where AI has shown the most results in accelerating your developer productivity. So we do look at the tools, the newer tools in the stack and say, okay, how can it accelerate every function? Really about supercharging the human with AI as a partner.
That's great.
I was gonna say, I think the other piece too, a lot of our customers, especially north of 50 million, it's owned by IT, right? There's that huge component of governance around information security, like who's going to have access to what tools, at what level of capability do we define that access? What are the permissions and roles that we're going to allow people to access at? And how do we make sure that we're being good stewards of the data that we have in order to protect it? So that ops head with the IT head.
So ops and IT is what you see. So Cliff, you see lots of customers, right? That on the spectrum of being an AI first company from go-to-market revenue operations, especially in your world, to they're trying out their first AI tool, right? And with every major transformation, AI is no short of big transformation. The biggest that we have seen, at least in our lifetime here, we have seen internet and mobile and cloud, and then you see AI is a huge. It's moving at such an unprecedented speed that I can keep track of it, right? But with every transformation comes a set of traps, right? Some of the missteps that the teams or the companies can take. So what are some of the not to do things? Like what are some of the common missteps that you see within your client base or within the broader community that you're part of that you will guide our audience to be aware of?
I think this first one goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't just put sensitive information into your $20 a month ChatGPT login. Please, dear God, don't do that. Someone will have your head. The other thing is just relying on doing the same thing over and over again within a single chat. There is a significant amount of drift that happens within the bots, within AI as you continue to use it. So a best practice is to go back through and use that same prompt over and over and over again every time you initiate a new conversation, instead of going through on the same thread. That way you're not driving that drift. If anyone's seen the image of the rock and they ask it to recreate the image the exact same way over and over again, after about 1,000 iterations, you get something that looks like a Picasso. So you need to be very prescriptive about the things that you're driving into the AI. And then don't make it overly complex. It's better to stitch together, especially from an agentic perspective, multiple agents that are very point solutions, essentially, right? They do one task extremely well instead of having an agent that's sort of like the ring, right? You don't want one agent to rule them all. You need to be able to have an agent that does something very well and then hands it off to another agent, hands it off to another agent, hands it off to another agent to avoid any type of misunderstanding between the way the systems run.
That's good. Cindy, as you implemented AI within your organization, what are some of the quick wins? What are some of the quick wins that the team should be looking at to say, you know what, let's have some early wins and build the momentum?
Yeah, I love that because I was literally just typing a response to Vanessa. Shout out to you, Vanessa. I'll show, if I can just screen share for a moment, I'll give everyone a live example. This is something that, I love about the AI portal that we built in KnowBe4. And these are basically, this is an idea section. So as team members come up with really good ideas and they build out the model, you can share it on this ideas portal, and then anyone at KnowBe4 can grab it. So I want to share a few here from my team, right? Our top buyer in the cybersecurity market is the Chief Information Security Officer. I highlighted and featured one of my team members in product marketing who did a great job building out a virtual CISO. We also have a virtual CFO, a virtual CHRO, because we also sell a compliance training product. And you can start asking the CISO, the CISO, a lot of questions and see how that kind of comes across. But another kind of like really kind of specific use case, and Vanessa, I think this can help you out too. We're a global company. I only have 2 people in localization marketing, and we support 36 different languages. In marketing, we want to, have basically every asset in 6 languages. And you can see here, my team built, and again, shout out to them, right? Because I'm highlighting and featuring them so that other people get inspired by that, and I highlight them in my global marketing all hands. But you can make your marketing slides multilingual, so they can go into this prompt. It's already all built out for them, upload the presentation and get the translations done. And it's all done via Claude, right? So these are some very specific examples. The main thing is you find a problem that you need to solve, and we are all stretched for budget and resources and people. And if you can find one of these use cases where you can prove out to leadership, like, hey, I tried this for translations, it is making us a lot faster. Now, again, doesn't mean you can just only rely on AI, right? That's the human element that's really, really important. You have to QA it, but that's just one example that you can use it for.
This is great. This is good. So get some early wins, right, to show the leadership, and then build the momentum, get more investments. And that's the internal use, right, by your team. Any other examples of your early wins? Like, what was your early win within your organization?
I can talk a little bit about how, at Outreach. So we launched our agents. It started off similar to Dan in your space, like you do the ISDR, which is like way top of the funnel, but then how do we take it further in the sales side of the house? So we started off with the prospecting use case, because that's the one where we see the most kind of repetition. And internally, when we started deploying it, it was interesting. Like we found many use cases on how you could deploy that agent. It could go after your new logo accounts. It could go after your existing accounts. It could go after your inbound leads. It could go after your existing accounts for expansion. So there were so many different use cases. And the biggest learning on where kind of AI can really do most of the work is trust in the data, right? If I know that there is accuracy based on the data that I'm providing for that use case, that's where AI can do most of the work. So the one where we decided that we could do and let AI kind of even fully automate the workflow was inbound leads, because there was so much information coming in on where the lead is coming from. So the intent of the person who's coming to us was clear. So we could actually give very hyper-relevant messages to target and convert that person. Whereas if you're going outbound, then you're looking for more generic signals in the market, like third-party data, and you know how trusted that data could be on LLM. So in that case, we were like, no, we're not going to kind of just blast our target group and potentially say something incorrect that can spam the company. So that's where we put human in the loop. Like it can do the research, and we tell the human what signals were used to generate the message, but they can put that finishing touch review. So depending on the data and the repetition in the process, you decide how far AI can take it. Was our biggest learning, right? You just want to make sure it's doing the right thing. And eventually now, in fact, all our MQLs are really fully automated because the trust and the accuracy of the messages is so high there. But for the remaining, no way in hell we'll let that touch our customer without the rep reviewing that.
This is a great example of drinking your own champagne, right? And now you're bringing that feature set to all other customers.
For our customers, and the best practices, I think that's the other piece of it is, right? Just AI at the end of the day is a tool, right?
Yeah.
Just like automation, all the other tools that have existed in the past, it's how you deploy the tool is where you will get the best results. And if you don't deploy it, in fact, it can hit you and make things worse. So you really need to be careful and have the right partner in the mix, guiding you, coaching you on the principles on how to deploy it for your use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the the contrast that you made, Nitya, that inbound leads where you have to, qualify, you put the AI, but for outbound, you're very conservative, right? Because you don't want an LLM to go and send messages out there. The perfect transition to the next topic here. Christina, you talked about hiring the humans, enabling them. In the world of AI and any automation, human connection is still the competitive advantage, right? So what elements of pipeline generation will AI never replace, right? And how do you enable in the pipeline generation space? There are some component, and how do we all intentionally protect and amplify those human strengths?
Yeah, I think, and again, I'm bearing through some really bad internet, so hopefully you all get at least 80% of this. But I would say the biggest thing, it's not so much the generation of the pipeline from a lead list standpoint. I actually think that that's a really great use case for AI. It's the actual outreach. We hear a lot about this concept of personalization at scale, which I think is wild. Like, I think it's wild that we're like, let's personalize at scale. Those are opposite things. But what you can do is you can segment your pipeline and your book based on what are kind of your A, B, and C level accounts. And then you can use AI to help you draft messaging for those C level accounts and maybe lower B level accounts. And now you use the human efforts that you have to actually custom create and custom research, reaching out to those A accounts, those white glove accounts, those accounts with a lot of white space in them. And you use the human element to really be a great seller and let AI kind of get you some of that low hanging fruit to engage with. But all the time that you spend personalizing, I think it should be the opposite of personalization at scale. It should be AI is getting me these lists at scale, and then I'm able to be the best version of myself and show up really, really researched, really, really intelligent in an advisory and consulting capacity to these customers that I'm reaching out to that are of high value to the business, which AI can help me identify. But I don't think we will ever replace that element of a human reaching out to a human. At the end of the day, even if we are talking to the smartest AI on the phone, what is the number one thing that we say when we get him on the phone? We're like, representative, right? Like we want to talk to the person. So AI is going to let you be the best version of that person.
Yeah, I'll add something there. So look, I just think obviously AI just really can't replace the human element. I mean, the intuition of a seasoned seller who picks up on the subtext, pivots a pitch on the fly, builds trust over time. All of that empathy, negotiation, storytelling are uniquely human. Obviously, everyone agrees with that. And so, the way we think about it, and this is kind of also coupling with the last question, it's like, what are some quick wins? It's like, well, how do we get reps more face-to-face time with humans, right? And that's taking those tasks where AI can handle that. And so that's where it's like AI is never going to replace the human element. And so that's where it's like, how can we get humans connected to humans as fast as possible with AI? And that's a lot of what we do as well when we're implementing our top of the funnel AI SDR. It's like, how can AI qualify them as fast as possible to get them to a human so that we can get back to that human element?
Yeah. So that building the relationship, empathy, negotiations, the trust. I think in sales, the number one thing is trust. People buy from people they trust, right?
Yeah.
And you can't have AI build trust unless on the other side also there's an AI, right?
Yeah, Manoj, I want to add on to this because I just talked about this with my team. I went to RSA, which is the biggest cybersecurity conference earlier this year. And I was amazed at, I've been going for 6 years, right? Except for the years when it was shut down for COVID. It was bigger and more people than I've ever seen. And I think that in our world of digital and AI, people crave that human connection. And so events are things that, yes, you can use AI to help you, prospect better, set up better meetings, before, during the event, for post event, right? But that human connection, that event marketer and that seller and that SDR at a show floor, having that one-on-one conversation, I think that is the one use case where, AI is not really going to replace that, right? You can use it to make it better, but it's not going to replace that event engagement.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And I'll share another example. I have a podcast, Pipeline Pioneers, and some of you have been on that podcast. We talk about pipeline generation, ICP, the importance of buying centers. And then I give the guest 100 pennies, right? And I ask them to put those 100 pennies across, 9 different go-to-market channels. Like these are the channels through which you will generate the pipeline, right? And I've been seeing the trends for last 2 years. And as AI is going up, so is the investment in in-person events. That's one of the channels that we have. In-person events, we have marketing-led growth, we have sales-led growth, we have founder-led growth, event-led growth. And you see week over week, as I have guests coming in, they are putting more and more pennies there because we are all seeing so many emails coming in, so many ads being generated by AI that people need that interaction, that one-on-one trust to be able to, have a conversation, understand, share their problems, and see if the solution could really solve those problems or not. Great, awesome. So the next part is we're all using AI in some shape or form, whether you have a $20 subscription to ChatGPT and used to craft emails or analyze the numbers, or you have adopted some of the early tools. In some shape or form, you're using AI. But Nitya, I would love for you to share beyond these basic use cases, what are some of the more advanced use cases of AI that will truly help the pipeline generation platform, the revenue teams to be more productive in the coming months and quarters?
Yeah, so I will say, like, as everybody has said, right, there's a lot of things that AI can do, and it can do better than humans, especially when you're looking at data and data crunching and making sense of, think what to do next based on past patterns, right? You only know what you know, whereas AI can look beyond that. And like, if you think about it, like there are a couple of things I think about as every rep needs to do on a day-to-day basis, irrespective of what part of the sales funnel they're managing. It's research and engagement, right? I need to stay on top of my accounts and prospects, and I need to connect with them. And all of that requires a lot of work. So those I think of them as more like horizontal use cases for AI. Like how can AI help me do research, whether it's based on what's happening with the company through LLM, through third-party research. And also as you start engaging with the customer, there's a lot of data you start collecting on the customer based on your conversations, your engagements. So you're now building this full picture of the account, the customer, and AI can help you do that, right? I don't need to go to different places. And there's one place AI just brings me the insights on an account because you can go through and you have people constantly changing, right? Reps move on. All that knowledge now lives and can be actioned because AI is on top of it. And similarly, I'm going to go write a message. Email is the most common use case we see, but it's every single conversation you have with a customer. You get into a meeting, you're getting into a call. So before I get on it, my reps today write me briefs on who's coming, what do they care about? Again, AI can do that. It can go through the conversation. We believe this person is a detractor or a supporter, and this is how you should engage with them. These are their objections. So there is so much value in these horizontal use cases. But then I can take that to actually now make it even more actionable, right? So now I can guide the rep on the next steps. This is the person you should be having a call with. I can update your CRM automatically because now reps are notorious for not keeping their deals up to date. As soon as the conversation finishes, it says, hey, I identified a champion. I identified the pricing process. So there's so much, and then it kind of then finally levels it up to forecasting. Right now, I have better deal data. AI can help me forecast better. So it's just, I think about it as these horizontal use cases, doing the individual tasks, and then leveling it up to taking actions. I actually think of AI now beyond insights. It's about actions. It's about actions and impact, right? Insights, yes, that's table stakes, but can you tell me what to do next based on the information you've gathered for me? That's where the world is going. So I'm super excited with all the reasoning. I don't need to put everybody on the same path. AI can help me craft the right path for the right prospect.
Right. But the final hit the button go still is up to the human, right? Even in that advanced use case, right?
every step of the way, our philosophy, as everybody else here has said, is it's about humans and AI agents kind of partnering together, right? There's always a handoff. There's a even in our, I'll go back to our revenue agent workflow example that we have. We say revenue agent, but it's really about like the agent does the list building. Christina, to your point, it helps you identify. Once you give it the ICP, it's helping you build and then it does research for you. It helps you prep. It gives you the targeted prospects. So now you're focusing only on the most promising prospects and gives you the starting point. But there is a human in the loop because you need to make it tailored. To your point, personalization is not just what AI does, it's what the human brings to the mix. So that last mile, absolutely. And even in between, there's a lot of strategy that you have, knowledge you have based on your engagement on previous accounts, which AI may not have. So there is a human aspect to every step of the workflow. And there might be parts where AI can fully do it, but for many of them, you need the seller to engage and make the right calls.
That's great. Thanks, Nitya. Then in your company, you have been tackling some of the advanced AI implementations, right? Within your product. What are you looking at the horizon, whether it's 3, 6, 9 months down the road? What are some of the advanced AI use cases that you're trying to tackle or your team is trying to tackle?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think people, it's interesting just how we talked about this earlier, how fast AI is moving, this pace of innovation, and obviously we're just scratching the surface where everything is. And so, I know we're here to talk about, implementing AI and the agents and stuff, but I think the name of the game from here on out isn't going to be about that. It's going to be about orchestrating all of the agents and AI tools working together to create stronger handoffs, better insights, faster work for humans. And that's kind of where our head is at. It's like, how do we orchestrate an agent to agent talking and handing off certain things to drive that process? And that's kind of a huge, bigger concept. And I know that, we're still not there early on the technology wise there, but it's going to get there. And so thinking through, how do you work across multiple agents and how do you bring them together? How do you supercharge, your team and your humans with these agents as well? I mean, that's kind of where our head is at in driving this.
I think it's
So
even a
parallel to that is, when the computers came in, internet, we had the intranet first, right? So it's an equivalent of your internal agents talking to each other. And then one day, hopefully very soon, you'll have these internal agents talking to the external agents here.
I think it's actually a step prior to that, right? Having the technology is great, but we need to actually go out into the field and train our people and drive enablement for them to understand how to use the tech.
Correct.
Right. And if we don't give them the understanding of how these things piece together and how it can drive efficiency for them, there's always going to be that fear factor. Right? AI is amazing and it can do so much from a predictive perspective now. When you look at the multiple revenue intelligence tools, you can name a bunch of them, right? The problem is the board and the executive team still doesn't trust the data that it's spitting out because it can't verify. So we need to be able to walk alongside it, and you're always going to, for I'm guessing the next 3 months to a year, it may be a little bit longer, have a human being that's able to sit alongside that AI and make sure and verify that the data that it's putting out is correct, because that's going to drive guidance.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Cliff. I'll just add to that too, because that's, it was an earlier question of, when we implement AI, like I always advise our team to put, guardrails in place and phase this over time to build that trust, right? And so, Cindy showed her demo of their AI, and I'm sure there's a lot of people testing it as well, making sure this is the right stuff. I mean, the same thing happens with our AI SDR. Like if you go to know before, you'll hit her AI SDR, you can ask it a bunch of questions. And what I love is when we challenge the team to kind of go try to trick it and see what they can do to help verify. But you're 100% right. I mean, enablement is a key factor to this game, and it's moving so fast that I think it's even hard to write courses to enable because things are changing. And so that's something that we're also realizing where we're like, okay, is this going to settle down a little bit? But it hasn't. So it's like we're just constantly iterating.
This is good. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for sharing.
Speaking of courses, I think you can get AI to do jump through just about any hoop if you know how to prompt correctly. everything is in the prompt. And from what I understand and what I've studied so far, knowing how to prompt correctly and knowing a little bit about Python programming will help you a great deal in developing the right prompt and getting AI to do exactly what you want it to do. So that's if you wanted to develop a course, I would use that as a foundation. It's huge.
Yeah, I'd like to add color to what Dan said earlier, and that is productivity is the key thing. And so the platform that we have, there's two things reps hate, right? Forecast calls on a weekly basis, and then adding information to CRM. And we've covered both of those. And so it's getting the rep back out there selling what they like to do. They don't like sitting on a Friday afternoon on a forecast call in the morning and then going to their CRM because their managers said, go fix your CRM data because it's not accurate. And then the manager goes in and manipulates it to what he wants the VP and the executives to see anyway. But yeah, we've got a platform that gets the rep back in front of the customers and prospects.
This is great. Thanks. Well, the live Q&A. We have 8 minutes. I see there's some questions, and thanks over to our panelists. I see some of the replies were. Cliff has been pretty active here. Cliff, do you want to take a few of those questions so everybody could get the responses? Cindy, thank you.
Yeah, I also, if I can add something really
Please.
quickly that we haven't talked about yet in terms of just kind of how AI can help people. We've talked a lot about the end result, and we've talked a lot about forecasting and entering CRM data, but what we haven't talked about is the capability for AI to really uncover things like skill gaps and competency gaps and identify actual rep readiness to do the job and then help up-level them before it erodes revenue. And so there's a capability now for AI to really, really accurately measure your go-to-market team and determine if they are in a place to do the job correctly. And then also flag things like leadership to say, hey, you have a rep that's about to go on a call and they're not ready for that call. If you need to know where to prioritize your time, I would join the rep on that call, and here's where they need coaching, right? So how do we also not only help reps be more ready and proficient before they're making revenue impacting mistakes, but also make managers more prescriptive and better coaches by giving them one-to-one coaching guides that are reading proficiency that AI is helping with, helping them identify their areas where they have to lean in, right? There's this whole element, and this is where Luster plays and making your whole go-to-market from being very reactive, which is a pre-AI world, to very, very proactive and predictive, which is a post-AI world. And so just the way that we can up-level people from a proficiency standpoint and stop revenue erosion before it starts is a really key use case.
That's great. Thanks, Christina. Thanks for sharing. Any questions from the audience or comments? Well, we have a few minutes. I have an idea. What is your use case for personal life where you're using AI and that's making your life, whether it's fun, easier, or more productive? Like, so as you guys think about it, let me share mine with you. So I have a 9th grader, a rising 10th grader, and my background is teaching. I love teaching. So for math, I will always teach him, try to keep him engaged and busy and learning. Earlier, it will take me half an hour to come up with the 10, 12, 15 questions on a topic. Now I have a GPT trained. They know what his curriculum is. They know what he has done already. And all I have to do is, create 10 questions with 2 sub-questions in each. And it just comes up with a question. I hit print and give it to him. So that has made my life at a personal level so much easier. How about you guys? Okay, can you share your personal stories of AI enabling you?
All right, Manoj, I went to Lisbon, Portugal with my husband last year, and I used ChatGPT to plan the trip because I was tagging it on to the back end of a work trip.
Yeah.
And I just went in and just said, okay, I only have 48 hours in Lisbon. What are some of the key don't misses, whether it's great food or, nearby places that are quick to get to within an hour. And it just designed the whole 48 hours for me. It was great. It just makes life that much easier, right? I could go on there and do all the research, or I could just use AI to do it.
Yeah, the research is done for you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, research is huge. I have a couple of some blogs and some e-commerce websites, two of them primarily. And as far as competitive research and keyword analysis and writing up developing a content schedule, AI's been invaluable. It's huge. Saves so much time. It's just it was such a slog before, but now I just play the role of editor because a lot of the stuff it writes is kind of hollow. It doesn't sound like a human did it, so you gotta give it the human touch. But that's still a huge time saver.
I'll share a couple use cases really quick. So, obviously, I work with a lot of younger folks, and there's a lot of context I miss and trends that happen that I'm of social media places that I'm not on, and so I actually use Grok on X to ask questions. I'm like, what is this? Tell me a little bit more about that and educate me, because obviously Grok is just kind of like incorporates a lot of really real time trends and stuff. So that's one use case. I find that to be awesome because it helps me connect with my employees and people better. And then the second one, which I think was really cool, was this was around Christmas time. OpenAI has their chat, and they have a voice chat. And I had my son talk to Santa Claus, and I found out what he wanted through talking to Santa Claus. It was the best thing ever. His eyes lit up. He was like, "Holy crap! I'm actually talking to Santa Claus." And so, anyway, those are just two fun use cases. Obviously, there's a whole world of them out there, but there you go.
That's great. Thanks for sharing the tip. I have a rising junior in college, and every time she comes home, she's like, "You're not up to date with the trends, Dad, whether it's the music or the movies or any of the new trends." Because I'm not on all social media channels, so I love that tip.
And my
Well,
use case is all around content writing. It's really hard for me to like get my thoughts organized, especially like for Unleash, I had to like do the script for my keynote,
yeah.
and I gave it like my ideas, my bullet points, but to kind of get it in a nice natural language. So it was a little bit of a reverse. I use it more to give that human touch because I'm a technical person. I'm like, can you make it such that it's more relatable to the audience I'm going to present it to? So it gives me, and it even gives me, add some humor into the mix and so on. So things that not my natural tendency, I ask ChatGPT to give me that help. So it's been great, like by sending emails out. Can you make this really make it sound nice and inspiring versus like just bare bones, fact based, make it more engaging. I actually use it more as my human companion in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great. That's great.
I'll share mine. I'm really, really big into health and fitness, but I also travel a lot. And I try to be pretty religious with my gym schedule and my diet. And so I will enter in whatever machines they have in the hotel gym and ask it to put together a workout for me that is kind of meeting my goals for that day. I will also enter where I'm at within a 5 square mile radius and ask where I should eat to hit things like my protein goals and macro goals. And so for me, it helps me like stay on track and not gain 5 pounds every time I travel, which is like 3 times a month. So
it's a great tip. Great tip.
I need to do that. I feel like I'm so much lazier. I just take pictures of like the different nutritional labels on food and like which one's the best for my diet based off of, oh, crazy. I was at Costco the other day and did that across 4 different protein shakes. And it's like, this is the one that's got it doesn't have natural sweeteners. This one does. Like, yeah, that was fantastic.
This is awesome. Well, thank you so much. This brings us to the end of our session. A huge thanks to our incredible panelists, Christina, Nitya, Cindy, Cliff, and Dan. Thank you for sharing your insights. And thank you to all the audience for dialing in, listening, engaging. I hope you get some of the practical tips, the nuggets from this session, and implement it for your own teams. So thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful day.